guys, this is Kitchen Table Research, and my name is Sully, and today I'm here with my husband, Sully.
The original Sully.
The original Sully. So today we're going to get into the story of Israel Keys, which was a fan request by my friend Rachel, and my husband is going to help me out because he's listened to a lot of podcasts and stuff about this case, and you're going to maybe fill in some blanks as we go along.
Yeah, I don't remember anything, so I'll probably just ask questions.
Okay, perfect. Well, let's get started. So today we are talking about Israel Keys. He wasn't just a serial killer. He was a predator with a plan. No pattern, no motive, no mercy. Israel Keys didn't wait for victims to come to him. He buried kill kits across the United States and came back for them later. The scariest part is you've probably never heard of him, and that's exactly how he wanted it. This is the story of Israel Keys, one of the most methodical and terrifying serial killers the FBI has ever faced. And today I am using resources from last podcast on the left, the interview tapes that the FBI recorded, which you can find on YouTube, True Crime Garage, which also did a series with true crime bullshit, and Somewhere in the Pines. So let's get into Israel's childhood, because as we know, childhood is what shapes these serial people.
Right.
You know that just as well as anyone.
For sure.
So Israel was born in Utah in 1978. He was the second of 10 children, and his parents were members of the LDS Church from California, and his father had been an LDS missionary in Germany. So Israel Keys is going to be born into a very isolated and very heavily controlled religious situation where not only is he living through this, but he also has 9 other brothers and sisters that his family is trying to take care of. During this time, his parents were anti-vax, anti-America, as it seems, because the family actually would go on to move to the Pacific Northwest, and Israel Keys only lived half a mile from somebody that you may know, who is Chevy Kehoe. Now, he unalived 3 people, broke into a home, unalived 3 people, and then dumped them. So because this group of people with extremist religious beliefs and racial beliefs, this is going to shape Keys in a way where I think really nurture played more into Keys' psychopathy than nature. Did I say that right? Nurture played more of a part into Israel Keys' psychopathy than nature. I think the way he was brought up really shaped Israel, and if he had a different home life, I do wonder if maybe he would have turned out a different way. Just like most people in his childhood, the first thing he did was start breaking into houses. And he lives in a very poor area. So he was breaking into houses not to steal anything of value, but rather just for the thrill of it.
I wonder if he did that with his other siblings too. I'm curious how many of the other 9 were messed up as well in some way.
I believe that in the beginning, like, him and his brothers would start to get into trouble, but there's actually a turning point where his brother's sister, especially one sister, and a friend turned on him. And do you know what that event was?
No.
The killing of an animal.
Oh.
So all of the kids were playing one day, and his sister's cat got into the garbage, and it had upset Israel. And right there in front of everybody, he unalived the cat. And this is kind of when his siblings and his friends are like,
yeah,
bro, like, we're not into that side of it, you know?
For sure.
So we already have this, like, McDonald triad starting of slaughtering animals, and he actually will go on to set fires as well. So it's actually believed that
what's the third thing? Bedwetting?
Yes.
Did he do that?
I have not been able to conclusively find if he was a bedwetter. A lot of the information that we get from Israel Keys comes from himself.
Yeah.
And so And he was like the way that he talked to the FBI, which we're going to get into, it's almost like he was an anti-serial person where he didn't want to be known.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't want the media sensation and all of that stuff around him.
That makes sense if he grew up in isolation.
Exactly.
He just wants to do his own thing. He doesn't really care about other people, probably.
But we know that a lot of times that bedwetting is actually a symptom of, SA. And I do believe that if it didn't come directly from the family, that the children, especially the girls in the Keys family, were probably assaulted within the LDS and isolated religions. And they also lived in a very white soup area of this country. And just so everybody knows, when we talk about Chevy Kehoe and this part of America during this time, we have Ruby Ridge, and then Chevy Kehoe and part of the people in Ruby Ridge actually tie back into the Oklahoma City bombing. So these are almost like homegrown terrorists.
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of people actually compare Israel Keys to BTK, kind of the bargain bin version of BTK. He was a product of his circumstances. As I stated, I believe nurture played more of a part. He really didn't have a motive for company, for the spree of it. I believe that Israel just simply liked unaliving people. And he was very organized and disciplined. And if Israel was anything as a serial person and a bargain bin BTK, he had one thing, which was patience, which is something that a lot of serial people don't really have.
Yeah.
So as Israel comes into his teenage years and he's kind of forming into this rebellious teenager in his family's eyes, they kick him out of the home.
Mm-hmm.
Further isolating him, right? They kick him out of the home. So as like a rebellious tactic, he actually joined the military because his parents were fairly like anti-American, anti-capitalist, He gets kicked out of the home, joins the military, and he actually starts to get satanic tattoos. I believe he got like a star on the back of his neck, and he had an upside down cross tattooed across his chest.
Okay.
Yeah, those are some pretty,
Yeah, become a Satanist, join the army. Pretty standard
rebellious.
Antisocial behavior.
Yeah, antisocial behavior. You're onto that. So he did serve 4 years in the military, and during that time, his family would leave the Mormon LDS church and move to Maine and join an Amish community.
Yeah, well, Maine is pretty isolated too. That's
exactly.
Pretty similar location.
Right, to the Pacific Northwest. Yeah, I agree.
And LDS, Amish, a lot of probably similar things in their culture.
Right, so you can kind of tell where his parents' thinking and patterns.
They fit a mold.
They fit this certain type of mold. And a lot of the, Timothy McVeigh, the Kehoe brothers, a lot of these people grew up in the same exact situation. And actually, in Kitchen Table Research Part 2, as we do Oklahoma, we are going to profile a homegrown terrorist and cover the Oklahoma City bombing. So that is coming up on Kitchen Table Research. So at this point, as he joins the military, I believe he was deployed. And during that time, he had a fiance that he cheated on. And out of that relationship, he had a baby girl and became a father.
Okay. With the affair partner?
With the affair partner. He broke off his engagement to his fiance during the military. And he committed to the mother of his child during that time.
Got it.
So this is kind of where we're going to stop off here, is Israel's early adulthood and how he moves from the military into becoming this serial person.
Sounds good.
You have any questions?
No, looking forward to part 2.
Do you want to see what he looks like?
Sure.
All right, well, we'll put a picture up for you guys, and we'll be back. The next time we will do his adulthood. We will get into his crimes, into his FBI interrogations, and then we will go on to diagnose him according to John Douglas and the way Mindhunters profiled people.
Fun.
All right.